Our story begins in a small diner, out in the middle of nowhere. The two villains give Bruce a choice. Tell them where he is, or everyone in here dies. Bruce turns to the diner patrons and delivers a solemn vow. Nobody is dying here today. Firefly disagrees, but he's wrong. Exhausted, Bruce says the civilians need to get out of here, but they are quick to blame Batman for all of this. After all, Bruce is the one that brought him here. Before Wayne can convince them otherwise, he is pulled through the window. Dent just attacked the city with acidic rain. Batman, Gordon, and Duke Thomas look over the many people injured as a result. Jim asks if Duke is the new Robin, and Batman says they're actually trying something new, something different. Looking over the many wounded civilians, they know they have to act. Harvey has blackmail on more and more people in the city. He's getting increasingly aggressive, and his control of Gotham is getting formidable. But luckily, Harvey, the real Harvey, has an idea. A way out. They need to get rid of the Two-Face persona once and for all. And there's a house, far away from Gotham, that can solve everything. All Bruce has to do is get Two-Face there. Dent mocks his captor. They're never going to make it to the house. It's 500 miles away, and though Two-Face has no plans to stop them, everyone else will. An announcement is made on the news, an offer to everyone. If Batman takes Harvey to the house, he will release his blackmail on everybody. All the big bad secrets of Gotham will be let loose on the world. But if somebody stops them and frees Harvey, they will get the fortunes of Gotham's 3 biggest crime lords transferred via a secret, untraceable payment, and Gotham's secrets will remain safe. Let the games begin.
What the?
Firefly catches up to Bruce, but seeing him standing over the Black Spider, decides it would be best to leave. Coming across the wreckage of the Batplane, Bruce looks for Harvey, when the diner patrons interrupt him. They're sorry, but Batman brought this on himself. They need that money. Besides, Harvey's all ready to go. Bruce refuses to back down, and as he approaches Dent, he is hit in the back. Before Two-Face can act, Batman is able to grab him and escape in spite of his injury. Securing Dent in a truck, the enemy mocks the Dark Knight. Everyone is coming for them now. The good and the bad. Cobblepot and his crew will be sending a real hunter, too. But Bruce is undeterred. Harvey laughs at this, saying Wayne has no idea the things people are hiding, even those closest to him. Alfred contacts Wayne in hope he is turning around, but he should know better than that. Wayne says he needs to cut off the comms, as someone close to them must be working with Harvey to have been able to take down the Batplane. Alfred wants to say something, but Bruce hangs up. Alone in the cave, the loyal butler quietly says how sorry he is. Driving off, Wayne discards Harvey's coin. That's alright though. Someone will find it. Someone always does. Two days from now, Bullock and Jim Gordon will share a smoke in a patrol car. Bullock will point out they don't have to do this, but Jim disagrees. He warned him. He said this would happen. Two-Face has too much on everyone. Gordon, Bullock, the whole damn city. But Batman didn't listen. It's over. The raid on Wayne Manor begins. Killer Croc, King Shark, Amygdala. Not the smartest thinkers in the world, but together, Batman is badly outmuscled. They thrash the hero around for a bit, but Bruce is finally able to hit King Shark with a specialized compound that makes the monstrous villain sick. This shark repellent causes him to fall into Amygdala, and both of them plummet from the train. Killer Croc is unimpressed, so, with a specialized batarang, Bruce pins a log to the villain. Croc laughs this off, not realizing the plan. Harvey is not amused. 156 miles, so far. But the fun isn't over yet. Cheshire and Copperhead, two of the most toxic people on the planet. Harvey admits that Batman got farther than he expected, but he's got maybe a minute before those poisons kick in. Dent warned the Dark Knight this would happen. As he begins mocking his enemy, Batman tethers himself to Harvey and says he set up charges on the train the second he saw Killer Croc. Separated from the assassins, Dent and Wayne plummet into a river below. 20 hours before this, the mob heads of Gotham met with an assassin known as Anatoly Knyazov. They call him the Beast. Penguin and the others have avoided hiring this guy before due to his feared reputation, but together, the three gangs have just enough money to elicit his services, and given the situation, he's needed. But Batman is an unusual target, even for Anatoly. So, Knyazov has an additional condition to taking the job. He's used to doing things quiet, all stealth-like, but with Batman, he finally gets to be loud. So he'll get the bat for them. All they have to do is clean up his mess. Meanwhile, in the Batcave, Duke and Alfred review Two-Face. Duke notices two very different versions of the villain. A smart gangster that planned heists and robbed banks, see? And a merciless killer. Alfred explains that children tend to know Two-Face for his more extravagant efforts, but there's more to it than that. Harvey's side of the personality will often sabotage Two-Face, deliberately getting himself caught with petty crimes and theft before the darker persona can come out. But when that comes out, well, that's the Two-Face parents worry about. Pennyworth then shows Duke the supposed way to cure Two-Face, a compound apparently created by Harvey himself. Thomas instantly realizes this is a trap. He speeds off to help his friend, even though by now he is far behind. In the present, Batman and Two-Face wrestle in the river before the Dark Knight is able to incapacitate his enemy. Bruce drags Harvey out of the water, while Dent taunts him with the knowledge of Wayne's true identity. Suddenly, things go dark. Bruce wakes up in the back of a van, still tied to Dent. A group of SWAT officers return Harvey's coin to the villain, saying they are on their way back to Gotham. One of them flips the coin, assuming that if it lands scratch side up, Batman dies. It does, but Harvey kills the officer instead, saying he really shouldn't have assumed how his coin works. Thinking fast, Batman uses this opportunity to attack the other guards and begins fighting them. But that isn't how this story ends. The drivers then see a figure on the road. His name is the Beast. It's gonna be fun making a mess. 2 days later, Gordon and Bullock make their way into the entry to the Batcave. They force themselves in and are shocked. Jim wonders just what the hell Bruce has done. Batman and Two-Face lay on the road, badly injured by the Beast's attack. 171 miles down. Too many to go. The surviving officers try and stop the assassin, but they are no match for him. Batman steps in and, activating his bat knuckles, attacks the Beast. However, the injured Batman is no match for the villain, who begins pummeling our hero. Fortunately, Two-Face attacks, feeling that the Beast is messing around with him and Batman's bet. In response, the Beast badly injures Harvey with some throwing stars. As the villain readies to finish his enemies, he is suddenly hit by a car. Duke Thomas, also known as Lark these days, has come to the rescue and takes the two badly injured men to a nearby safe house Batman knows of. Not long after they leave, the Royal Flush Gang approaches the Beast, asking where Batman and Two-Face went. His response is not very helpful. He did say he was going to make a mess. Meanwhile, the heads of Gotham's crime families are none too happy with the current situation. The Beast is rapidly spiraling things out of control, and when the madman finds out they can't actually afford to pay him, well, it's a point of concern with Penguin's colleagues. But Cobblepot isn't worried. He has a plan. At the safe house, a longtime friend of Batman named Harold Allnut is able to restore Batman and Two-Face's health. Duke updates Bruce on the situation back home. The police have a file that will supposedly decrypt itself soon, and that file is said to contain definitive evidence that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Our hero is undeterred and insists they push on. Duke accepts this, but goes on to say that the supposed cure Bruce is desperately seeking, well, it's probably not going to work. It's based off a similar compound that was used to cure people infected by the last Joker attack, and it didn't work then. Bruce doesn't care, he knows about those tests, but he has to believe there's hope. That, at this house, so very far away, there's a way to help his friend. When Bruce neglects to explain why this house is so important, Duke gets frustrated and decides to head home. So Wayne reveals that long ago, when he was still a troubled child, Alfred sent him to this house, which was a sort of rehabilitative clinic back then. There, Bruce met Harvey for the first time. They became close friends and shared some great moments together before they became what they are. It took them a long time to piece together that they had actually met one another as children. So Bruce is going, no matter what, for his friend's sake. Duke is pleased, saying he was hoping for an answer like this, he just needed to hear it. Officially on board with this mission, the three head out, and Batman comments that Duke is a good partner. Thomas replies that he's trying. Not long after this, they take a boat into a tunnel, when suddenly they are attacked, and the vessel is destroyed. Two-Face's goons pin Lark and Batman to the ground, while Dent taunts his enemy. He happily mentions that he heard Bruce's little story about the house, and eagerly points out that Batman was definitely sugarcoating their shared history from that time. He also suggests that Batman has no way of knowing if the cure could actually kill the Dent persona over the Two-Face side of him. Though Batman denies this possibility, Two-Face says he and the Dark Knight always saw the world differently. So what do you see now? In Reno, a man calls out. He is trapped. He's been here so long that his nails have grown through his skin. He promises he'll be good, just like everyone else. Just, please, let him out? Please? Meanwhile, Batman cries out in pain. The acid burns his eyes, and in desperation, he activates a sonic device implanted in his chest. With his vision badly damaged, Batman is forced to rely on echolocation to fight off the Talon attackers. But they are strong, and while they hold our heroes off, Two-Face opens a sewer valve. As the area begins filling with water, the Talons pull Duke and Batman into the watery abyss, while Two-Face makes his escape. Thinking fast, the Dark Knight overcharges his sonic device and blows the Talons away. Above ground, the heroes are able to find Two-Face and knock him out. They take him and find a nearby small airport with some biplanes. Batman says that will be perfect, as his vision will clear by the time they need to land the aircraft. Duke is understandably worried about his mentor, but Bruce doesn't listen to his concern. They're almost there. They can do this. On board the plane, Bruce talks of his and Harvey's past. When they were boys, they made a pact to kill each other's target. Harvey would get Joe Chill. Bruce would get Dent's father. But one day, Harvey got a coin from his dad, a message that he wanted to change his ways. Back then, Bruce was filled with rage. He couldn't accept that Harvey just wanted to give his dad a second chance. And the worst part was that Harvey knew his friend was right. There was no hope for his father. He'd beat Harvey and worse, and he'd do it again. But the boy wasn't seeing the world as it was, only how he could make it through sheer force of will. It's important not to forget the way people can be. But Batman has faith in them. They will be heroes, good in their intentions, brave and strong. This is what Batman sees in the world around him. Suddenly, that world goes dark. Batman wakes up with he, Duke, and Thomas tied up. The Beast has found them. Penguin and the others are pleased and thank Batman for bringing them Harvey. The Beast keeps Bruce quiet because he's not really the one they're interested in at the moment. The bosses are done playing Dent's games. He's gone too far. Offering other people their money? No. Unacceptable. As if the average person could be on the same level as somebody like Cobblepot. It takes something special to be a villain. Even Harvey doesn't have it. They play a tape they received of Dent's softer persona. If they're watching it, it means that Batman failed. But Harvey set up a backup plan, because he's a stronger personality than Two-Face. And that's why the so-called villain never killed their father, and kept him locked away in Reno. He never even could get rid of that coin. So Two-Face will give up the codes, or Penguin's gonna take things real slow. Two-Face scoffs at this. He just keeps all those things around to see how weak the light side can really be. And he's just getting started. With the villains under attack, Batman and Duke free themselves and grab Dent. Still unable to see, Batman asks Two-Face who else he sent. The villain replies that all he did was just extend a tracking chip placed on him so that Cobblepot, and everyone else, could find them. Worried, Batman asks what Duke sees. It's just people. Batman said they would stand for good. They would be brave and strong. As a mob swarms Batman, Duke, Two-Face, and the villains, the Dark Knight thinks quickly and escapes into the river. The Beast fires at them, saying that Batman is now marked by his blade, and that this isn't over. With no other choice, the three are forced to dive over a waterfall. Surviving the encounter, the trio make it to their goal. Meanwhile, back in Gotham, the police move in. Alfred protests, and Gordon has the butler taken out of the room. On his way out, Jim tells Alfred that Batman has one chance to stop this, or it all ends here tonight. 498 miles traveled. They've made it. They make their way inside, and Batman finds the cure. As he looks it over, he can't believe what he sees. He turns to Harvey, and has only one question. How could you? Harvey says that he's sorry, but he can't live like this anymore. The cure is designed to attack one of two elements in the brain, our capacity to be compassionate or selfish. Whichever side is weaker dies, and the other becomes permanently intact. It was actually Harvey that orchestrated all of this, including the acid rain attack on Gotham, just so he could be free of this war between two personalities. Batman then gets a call from Alfred, who explains the situation at home. He reveals that Two-Face has hard evidence that Bruce Wayne is Batman after Alfred accidentally exposed the secret through some financial transactions during the construction of the cave. Bruce realizes that Alfred was the one who shot down the Batplane, and the butler explains that he just couldn't live with himself if Bruce wound up in jail while criminals ran free. Frustrated, beaten, and nearly broken, Batman lashes out, tackling Harvey through a wall and into the mud outside. As the two men struggle, Harvey begs Batman to use the cure, and though Duke asks him not to, Batman consents. Only, something is wrong. Harvey doesn't feel any different. Batman explains that he swiped out the cure for a new compound, one that has made Harvey's nature immune to any further tampering. From now on, if he wants to be Harvey, that side will just have to fight harder than Two-Face. Just like the rest of us, it's now a battle between your light and your dark. Because this little trip taught Batman that people aren't bad or ugly, not inherently. They all have the same fight going on within them. But Batman believes that Harvey can win that fight, and he'll be at his side to help him. Always. The Beast appears and attacks Batman, but the mob of citizens are in close pursuit. As the two forces are about to collide, with the Beast eager to make a mess, Batman tackles him off a cliff. As Gordon and the police make their way down into the cave, they are surprised to find nothing. It's just a man cave. The cops are suspicious, but Gordon brushes this all off. What, is there some kind of secret switch in the clock that takes you somewhere other than the Batcave if you don't pull it? That's crazy talk. Duke catches Batman before he can fall, and the two struggle to get up. The mob watches this quietly, and Duke thinks they're in trouble, but Batman insists they will let them pass. Sure enough, they take Harvey, and together, they head home. Hello and welcome to Comic Island. My name is Arden, and this is the complete story of All-Star Batman, my own worst enemy. Well, this is an interesting one. I had picked up the series after issue 1 had blockbuster sales, and I figured writer Scott Snyder was a safe bet for a solid Batman story. And in the end, well, we kind of got that, but I'm not going to pretend I wasn't at least a little disappointed. It just kind of feels like another boring Two-Face story. Maybe it's because in spite of the name, Harvey Dent's character is a bit one note. It always ends up playing the same themes of duality, and though different beats of that idea are expressed here, it winds up being a fairly standard affair. The story feels like it boils down to the same old when it comes to it. The lesson here is that there is good and evil in all of us, and that lesson is pedestrian and a little pretentious. The real shame of it all is that if they only focused on the part of the story that was actually interesting, the road trip with everyone and their dog hunting Batman and Two-Face down, that would have made for a great story. That part of the comic was best, but we just didn't get enough of it in my opinion. The road trip wouldn't have been any more deep, but it sure would have been entertaining to see Batman actually getting into a prolonged fight with Gentleman Ghost. Or if more of Batman's allies turned on him in a more meaningful way. We didn't get nearly enough of that, and as such, my own worst enemy comes across as a little bit lacking. Snyder also falls for the same pacing problems that are all too prevalent in his stories. It starts out strong, drags out with pointless exposition way too much in the middle, and then wraps things up far too quickly in the end. So it's hard to recommend this one. Tom King's Batman right now offers more in my opinion, and this doesn't seem to have the quality of Snyder's better Batman stories. My own worst enemy really doesn't hold a candle to the likes of Endgame, Court of the Owls, or The Black Mirror. Of course, that's all my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. And if you like Comic Island, check out our Patreon page. You can find the link in the video description. Finally, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep reading comics.